Good morning. I am not Jacob. For those of you who read ahead in the epistle and in the article, all the ads, Jacob, our seminarian, was supposed to be here this morning speaking and is feeling not well. So I'm taking over his notes and his presentation, and it's not going to be the way he quite meant it, probably. But we're going to talk a lot about Evensong. So I know what I'm dealing with. How many of you have been to a service of Evensong? Outstanding. How many of you have been to Evensong here? Not bad. Not bad. How many of you don't know what Evensong is? That's even better for me. Great, so we'll give you some sense of the structure. Jacob's put together a lot of great slides about the structure of Evensong and some of the history of Evensong. And then, depending on time, I brought a lot more music that I would be happy to play. For me, one of the things that I love about Evensong is that the structure allows so much freedom, and it's such a flexible structure. It looks rigid on the surface, but there's a lot of space to, that's probably me, a lot of space to be creative. I'm just going to mute that until I'm ready to play music. Great. So let's start with a little bit of the history. So, see if I can, excellent. All right, and I'm going to wander a bit. So Evensong is evening prayer, but sung. It's a sung evening prayer service. It is an old service. The roots go back 1,000 years before it was evening prayer. There we go. Let's see if I can do this on both machines. Great. Great, so word root is from Anglo-Saxon. I don't know how they said that. It looks kind of like, I don't know, like coral eggs to me, often song, which was the English name for Vespers. So it's, and Vespers was the 7th of the 8 canonical hours of structured monastic prayer. I would not, in this moment, be able to name the other 7 hours for you. That can be a quiz for afterward. And I'm not going to ask anyone else to do it for me either. But, importantly, Evensong, evening prayer, was consolidated by Cranmer during the Reformation, or after the Reformation, and he combined Vespers and Compline into one service. The idea being that ordinary people could not keep a monastic prayer life. So this made things much more accessible and allowed common people to be able to pray evening prayer every day in a way that was practical and got to all of the important things. Morning prayer happened the same way, but we're not talking about morning prayer today. That'll be a different forum for a different time. But along those lines, one of the things about these offices that is also convenient are these sort of staffing needs. They can be performed without a priest, which is thumbs up from the priest. We don't generally do it that way here because we have several, but they can be done without a priest. And morning prayer, when did we stop doing morning prayer here? I think it was still going when I started here.
Probably about 10 years ago.
10 years? But weekly morning prayer still happens weekdays and can be led by about anybody who can read, if you just follow the book. And evening prayer is similar. We can We can gather however we are and make it happen. If you're going to do evensong, it helps if a few of you sing. But, oh, excellent. He has made the distinction here between choral evensong and sung evensong. This is sort of a fine distinction. All evensong is sung, but a choral evensong really requires the choir. They're elaborate, they're bigger. You can do sung evensong without a choir. Essentially, last year with St. Cecilia Choir, this is what we did. And we actually had St. Cecilia Choir sing an evensong service. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. I was changing one computer but not the other. Here we go, structure of evensong. It's pretty good. And this mostly reflects what we do here also. So you'll often walk into the building and hear an organ prelude. Depending on where you are, there may be an organ improvisation as the choir and the altar party enter. There may be an introit, which is, let's see, yes, it has its own slide. The introit is usually a short choral setting to sort of set the mood for the evening. Yeah, we do at St. Paul's often use a hymn in that place, which is certainly allowed and invites more congregational participation. Following the introit, we have video now, this is where it's going to get fun, are the preces. So this is where the prayer actually starts. This is a service where the congregation, where the choir does the praying on behalf of the congregation, which as both a choir director and occasional attendee at other evensongs is what I love about it. I actually really enjoy this experience as a change. So I knew I was going to use my Book of Common Prayer. So in evening prayer, the first thing that we have is the invitatory, where the officiant, maybe a priest, maybe not, says, "O God, make speed to save us." Everyone replies, "O Lord, make haste to help us," right? And then it goes on to Gloria, glory to the Father, the Son, to the Holy Spirit. In evensong, that's all sung by the choir. All of it is sung, and you as a congregant or as somebody attending evensong get to listen, get to experience that prayer happening, get to let the choir do the work of it for you while you get to experience that prayer. Darius, if you can play what he has here, please. Great. We don't sing the Jessica French setting here yet. That's nice. By the look of it, that's St. Thomas, Fifth Avenue. They do a lot of evensong. They're one of the few places here that offers a daily evensong. It's not truly daily anymore, but I think they do evensong like 3 weekdays and Sunday, which is pretty good. They have a choral school, which helps a lot, and a fully professional choir. Yeah. Great. Following that, we move into the Psalms. Psalms are the Psalms appointed. So the idea was that if you went to morning and evening prayer every day, in 30 days you'd get all the Psalms, and then you'd get to start over. So we have a convenient table of what we're supposed to be praying when in the back of our Book of Common Prayer. And this is not a part that we get to choose. We will take the psalms that are appointed for the day and we will sing those psalms. We do get to choose how we sing them. And almost always when we're singing evensong, we sing Anglican chant for the psalms. This is a tradition that I love. You all have come to know it also because we have begun singing Anglican chant Sunday mornings as well for the Psalms. So that's the way you hear the Psalms at 11 o'clock when the choir is here. Great. So there's an example here of how that chant looks. You have the music, this tune across the top, and it's the same way that hymns were presented in the old hymn books, where you have a hymn across the top and then you have all the words, and you get to pair the two up. You have to know, I mean, you know the tune, everyone will remember the tune, and then you just get to place the words in yourself. This is pointed so that the choir knows which notes to sing where. If you look at verse 1, the Lord is my shepherd. Oh, good. The happens on the first chord, and then you have this little line that says you're moving to the next chord. Lord is bracketed, so that shares a note. The Lord is my shepherd. So that's 4 chords worth of music. I'm hopeful that he put that same example in his video. Let's see. It's going to be a different psalm, but that's okay. You'll get to hear it. Yeah. The next slide, next video. You skip ahead just a little bit. Let's skip ahead just a little bit if we can in the video. If we can. Good enough. Ooh. All right, that's enough of that one, thank you. Canticles, good. 2 canticles always happen in evensong. After the first reading, we hear the Magnificat, the Song of Mary. And after the second reading, we hear the Nunc Dimittis, the Song of Simeon. These are always there. And this gets to one of my favorite things about Evensong and the freedom in the structure. Every English composer and many others sets these texts because Evensong is sung all the time, daily in some places, in cathedrals all over the country. Certainly more there than here, though the tradition is growing. Both there and here, again, there's a renewed interest in Evensong everywhere. So for me, the fun part about Evensong is that you use all the same words. Every time you use all the same words, but it sounds completely different based on how you want to shape the service, based on the mood that we want to set with the music, based on how we want to paint the words. So, I mean, the Magnificat's a great canticle anyway, but there is no opportunity to get tired of these texts, because anytime you think you know it, you hear a new composer's take that colors things just a little bit differently. And I have brought several that we can listen to. Let's start with the one that Jacob put in here. This is, I'm not sure where they're from. Oh, Compton Boys Choir. Stanford in C. Good, we'll take it that far. Charles Stanford obviously wrote a ton of music. I say obviously, not all of you know Charles Stanford as well as all the rest of you, but come to enough services in the Episcopal Church and you will know Charles Stanford. And he, like a bunch of English composers that wrote this music, wrote so many different settings of these same texts just themselves that we just refer to them by key. So that's Stanford in C. Next week at Evensong, we're doing Stanford B flat. Stanford in G is completely standard. Because we're doing it next week, this is another Stanford Magnificat. This is the B flat. And this is how this one starts. Here are a couple more just to give you an idea of the range that these have. This is Batten fourth service. This one goes back a little way. This is early 1600s.
My soul doth magnify the Lord, and my spirit rejoiceth in God my Saviour. For he hath
Orlando Gill.
My soul doth magnify the Lord, and my spirit rejoiceth in God my Saviour.
And I can't talk about Evensong or Anglican choral music without mentioning Herbert Howells. So this is the Magnificat Col Reg, Collegium Regale, written for King's College. Completely different atmosphere. Mary's canticle, starting with soprano with high voices, and then to start Simeon's and then painting the text here for to show that strength. One day here. And I'm just going to give you one more. This is by Julian Anderson. Was written, I think, in 2018. I was wrong. I'm giving you two more. I told you this is my favorite part. Julian Anderson. This was written around 2018. Just to give you a sense of this one is just sort of bubbling over with excitement. The choir doesn't even sing together. They have these staggered, scattered entrances. They can't contain themselves. They're so excited by this moment. Right? That one might not show up here, but it's an interesting study. This is the last Magnificat I'm going to play. This is Pierce Connor Kennedy. This one was written even more recently than that. This is from a set of canticles that he calls house canticles. I love this. I did briefly think, all right, we have both a pianist and an organist here, but we really need three. We need a pianist, an organist, and a conductor. We'll see, maybe. All right, let's move on from the Magnificat. Nunc Dimittis, the Song of Simeon. we get to listen to a little bit more music. Let's hear, this is also Stanford in C, I assume? Yes. All right, let's start this, and it looks like, Darius, it looks like he's starting around 5:12. Oh, sorry, I pushed a button. Let's go on to this one. Yep. We'll go to 5:12. That makes its point. All right. So I said a lot of the time they'll start with low voices for Simeon. Let's go back to howls. This is the Col Reg Nunc-Dimittis. Seen thy salvation, which thou hast prepared for all people. To be a light is every composer's favorite line. Every composer leads to be a light, and there's usually this big illumination in the music. Stopping that. Let's go back to Stanford in B flat, which again, you can hear 3:30 Evensong next week. Instead of using just a solo singer, Stanford here uses the entire tenor and bass section of the choir, singing in unison for the first page or so, before they even think about moving into a harmony. He speeds up. last time. We're singing that next week. 3:30. If you love it, 3:30 next week. I want to play you just a little bit of my new favorite, Nunc Dimittis. I was introducing this to the choir on Thursday. I'm not sure that they all agree with me yet that it should be their new favorite also. But it's okay. We were just reading it. It's new. We'll get there. This is Sydney Watson, the Watson in E, though I don't know of another Watson. The thing I like about this one is that it doesn't reduce it to a single voice. It's clean, simple 4-part writing the whole way through. But I think it paints a completely different picture of this moment for Simeon. And it feels to me, it feels like a very transcendent moment where it's not, well, here, listen, we can talk about it after. Sort of feels like it's happening over top of his head as he's walking out of the temple. And he's just walking away from it into where in November, we'll be singing this. This is going to be for our November 2nd Evensong, which is a whole other thing. We are doing Evensong for All Souls. Because the first Sunday in November happens to be directly on All Souls. So we're doing this Watson setting of the Canticles, which I think is going to fit beautifully into the sort of feeling and the theme of that day. Okay. I don't know how many slides he has left. I'm guessing I took too long on the Canticles. Great. So the second half of the preseason responses are the responses. We get back to more praying here. So if we are comparing this to evening prayer, we get past the canticles and we are in the section now called the prayers. So in evening prayer, the officiant would be saying, "The Lord be with you, and also with you. Let us pray." Then we have an Our Father. And then the suffrages. Suffrages are the same in evening as they are in the morning. Any morning prayer fans? One, at least. So it's set up as a versicle and response, which I know he has mentioned in here, where the officiant says the first half, and everybody replies with the second half, right? Show us your mercy, O Lord, and grant us your salvation, right? That's what the responses are. They are an older English setting of these same prayers. So if we can start here, Darius, at 252, I assume that's where he is, where this will take us. O Lord, show thy mercy upon us. O Lord, save the state. Endue thy ministers with righteousness. We just say, clothe your ministers with righteousness. And make your chosen people joyful. Lord, save thy people. And bless thine inheritance. All right, we can move on. I would listen to that all day. Good. Once we get through that, it ends with a set of 3 collects, all of which has sort of increasingly ornamental amens sung by the choir. The Our Father happens in there. It can be, a lot of composers set the Our Father as part of their settings of responses. We tend not to sing those, even when they are set here at St. Paul's, for many reasons, but one of the big ones is that it's another opportunity for congregational participation. And whether we speak that prayer or chant that prayer together, it's a chance for everyone else to take part in that way. After the collects, then we move on to the anthem. Darius, I have control over that. Great. That makes sense. This is a place another hymn can happen. We will always sing an anthem here and about everywhere. Because despite the fact that this is a service of worship and that the first priority is leading prayer, in a very practical sense, this is the most singing that a choir will do, generally. When we do these services, if they're 40 minutes long, except for the readings, we're basically singing. And as we get into it, we just kind of want to keep singing. So the anthem shows up both certainly as a reflection on the lessons of the day, but also to let us sing more. And I see the anthem that Jacob has put in here is the Balfour Gardner evening hymn, which is, it's one of these that is just so general that it can go in any service. It doesn't reflect on any of the lessons. It reflects on the fact that we are praying in the evening. So when you don't have any other ideas, this can go in, and it works, and it fits. I'm going to skip playing that one, though, if you don't mind. We can listen later, if you like. And then the postlude. So this will be choir when a choir processes out. They'll often process out with the altar party to another improvisation. And then after they're gone, the postlude proper happens. We tend not to process the choir for evensong here because of the way this church is set up. It makes a lot more sense to process in when the choir is in stalls in front. It's a lot harder to do when you have to process in and then process halfway back out and then all the way up the stairs and then sing a 40-minute service. I have, I will say, with choir members present, I have been racking my brain to try to figure out how to make an entrance where we get to enter with the organ improvisation, particularly since we have an organist who improvises so well. And if we didn't have to sing the very first words of the service, I would do it. even though it would be a weight for us to get up there, because the improvisation is such a centering moment. But it just seems unfair if we're panting when we have to start singing. If any of you have brilliant suggestions on how to make this happen for me, I would appreciate it. I haven't solved it yet. Oh, he's volunteered me to take questions. Okay. I'll try. Yes?